Well, obviously this week was a disappointing week for us. We felt like after the SEMO game that we had finally gotten some things worked out, and we had worked through some things, and we had some kids really step up and perform like we needed them to, and we were hoping to take that momentum into this week. And we did some good things at EIU. We just didn't do enough. We still are looking for some more offense that we're not finding. When Macy and Evelyn aren't scoring, we're not getting very much production from everyone else, and that's still an issue. But I thought we did some good things there. We just didn't do the things, like I said, what we needed to do to win the game. And then the SIUE game, I didn't think the energy was there, and I didn't feel like that the effort was there. And like I said after the game, that's on me. If it's a coach's job to have their kids ready to play, so I take all the blame for that. But we're still going through a lot of growing pains, and it's evident. On most nights in the OVC, it's pretty evident who the senior-laden teams are, who the experienced teams are, and we just haven't really found our niche as far as a cohesive unit that is able to score, defend, rebound. We put rebounding on the floor, we don't have any scoring. We put scoring on the floor, we don't have rebounding. So we just lack a little bit in some of the positions that we have. But this is the team we have, and we're going to coach this team, and we're going to try everything we can to get better every single day. There's a lot of basketball left. By no means are we out of it. We just have to figure out to find a way to somehow put consecutive wins together. Belmont is excellent at every position. They can score at every spot. They can defend from every spot. They can rebound from every spot. One reason why they've been so successful. They're a very difficult matchup for us. We know going in that we're going to have to do a lot of things well to be in that game. Tennessee State's in the same boat we are. They haven't won a lot of games. They have trouble scoring the basketball. They're a pretty good defensive team, but they just can't score enough points. So I think on Saturday you could see a defensive struggle, if nothing else.
One of the players that you were expecting to be one of your top scorers and be a lot of help this year is Janika. She's really, just the last couple of games it looks like, has really kind of struggled to find her offense. Where do you think she best fits in trying to score the basketball, and how can she help moving forward?
Well, her best scoring option is to get to the rim. Her numbers show that she's not a great shooter. So, getting to the rim, creating for others is when I feel like she's at her best. But those are things that you got to be willing to do. You got to be willing to get to the rim. You got to be willing to create for others and those type of things. And she's not really gotten into any kind of sync offensively this year. So, just continue to work on it every day and continue to talk to her about it, continue to show film, and hopefully at some point it clicks.
Obviously, Belmont hasn't lost a lot in the last 3 years, but that one loss against Tennessee Tech, how much of that film are you going to watch to kind of see what they did defensively and what they did offensively that worked against them?
Well, Kim's at Tech's one of my best friends. I don't have to watch film to know they're scoring the basketball. They went from 4 OVC wins last year to running the table so far, and a big part of that is because they're scoring the basketball. You have to be able to score to win games. Defense is great, and I love defense, but if you can't put that ball in the basket, it don't matter how good a defender you are. They're scoring the basketball, and they're scoring 70 to 80 points a game. If you put up 70 or 80, you got a chance to beat Belmont, but you're going to have to match their offensive output, and that's what Tech's been able to do. And Tech plays hard defensively. They're a hard group of kids. They got great chemistry. So, yeah, if I could mimic what they did, that would be great. But we've got to figure out how to take our pieces and be able to figure out how to score more offensively.
With a younger team, did that Saturday game, because they look a lot different than they did, especially third quarter against Eastern Illinois, is that just part of adjusting to life in the OVC, getting that Saturday game, especially when it's on the road?
It was the first experience that most of these kids have being gone since Wednesday, and then you come off what we felt was a disappointing loss on Thursday, try to get them back up, try to get into the scout the next day. Again, we have to be able to make those adjustments. So, we can't make excuses because we're youth or whatever. Other people go on the road all the time and are able to take care of business. But, yeah, it was our first long road trip, and I felt like very early on that there wasn't much energy.
You went deep into your bench in that SIUE game, and you said you're kind of impressed with the energy they gave you. Is there any chance that maybe that leads to more minutes in the future and some rotation changes going forward?
Well, I think so. I think we've got to find the kids that are bought in and are going to do whatever they can do, at least to play hard and to give ourselves a chance to win. So, I mean, we're definitely not locked into any rotation. We're going to try to put the kids on the floor that are going to fight and give effort, because that's the thing. The EIU game, we did a lot of things that we didn't do well, but I thought the effort was there. And then we turn around 2 days later and the effort's not there. So we've got to figure out who's going to be more consistent. Consistency is a big problem for us this year. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, that happens with young teams and things like that. But we're halfway through this season. I mean, at some point, people have got to be accountable and step up and be consistent on a daily basis. And that's Macy Turley, Evelyn Adebayo, all the way down to Paige Barrett. That's probably maybe one of the kids that has the least amount of minutes on the floor, but one of the kids that came in and gave great effort at SIUE. So it's every single one of them have got to be accountable and got to be consistent. I mean, Macy knows. It's no secret. You score 30 one night. You don't need to necessarily score 30, but you need to get you 15 or 20. That's consistency. And I mean, and I'm not picking on her. She knows that. I'm not picking on any of them. But it's not one person. It's everybody on this team's got to be consistent. The men are very, very good. Why? Because the people that play consistently do their job. Night in and night out, regardless of the opponent. I mean, we could learn a lot from them.
Turnovers. I know we've talked a lot about them, and we might talk more about them as the season moves on, or we might not. How does it change, and what are you seeing in the film that's causing your team a lot of trouble taking care of the basketball?
As much mental lapses as anything, being indecisive with the basketball, trying to force things that aren't there. Trying to make things happen because we're pressing so bad. You know, we go for 5 minutes and don't score, so we start pressing and we start trying to do things that we're not capable of doing. A lot of those turnovers are unforced, and maybe that comes with experience. Maybe that comes with continuing to show them film, continuing to talk about. I tell them all the time, and people think I'm crazy. I'd rather you throw the ball out of bounds and let us set our defense than give up a live ball turnover. I'd rather the shot clock go off with the ball in your hands than to make a bad decision and give the other team an opportunity to score in transition. I mean that, because you cannot defend transition baskets where you throw the ball to the other team and they shoot layups. But somehow mentally we haven't been able to buy into that yet.
Sometimes I don't even know if I'm seeing it, but maybe I am. I see players trying to make a play that they're so set in that play. How much freedom do you feel like you give your players to wave off a play and see something else?
Well, I think that we have that. We have those options, but that's one thing that we're lacking is playmakers. We only have one or two people that can create their own shot. That's part of the problem. And you know, deeper we get into the scouts of other people know that. They smash Macy every single time she has the ball. I would too. So we don't have enough people that can create their own shots. Therefore, if our two players that create for themselves and other people aren't able to get other people involved, that's one reason our offense is so stagnant. So we have to find people that are going to be able to be multifaceted offensively and not just capable of doing one thing.
You guys had this exact same start in conference last year. You're still able to, get 7 wins and make the OVC tournament. But with these girls that are so new, and some of them, coming from high schools that aren't used to, losing several games in a row, how much do you have to tell them that there's still a lot of the season left for this to, to start trending in the right direction?
I think they understand that. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We take it one day at a time. We know what's ahead. We know that on any given night we can beat anybody, but on any given night anyone can beat us. I don't think that these kids are too much caught up into what the record is. They understand what we're trying to do. They know the disappointment that was felt by the coaches and the players this week when we let 2 go. But I think they understand that it's next play. And I think those are things that we have built in the culture that we have right now is, don't get used to losing, but understand that this is a process and it is going to take time for us to get to where we need to be. And so the ones that are bought in, and they're going to fight and give you everything they got regardless. I didn't even realize, did we start 2-5 last year? Again, that never crossed my mind. We tell them it's not over till it's over. You do everything you can do to get yourself to the tournament, to give yourself a chance to win the tournament. And if you don't do everything you can do, then don't cry when it's over, when you didn't give what you needed to give when it was in the moment. We talk about that all the time. These kids are gritty. They're not going to quit. Coaching staff's gritty. We're not going to quit. I don't know what's going to happen going forward, but when this season draws to an end, if we're a better basketball team, then we've taken another step in the process.
Coach, your team has rebounded really well, but the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, 13-0. SIU had that many rebounds over you guys. What do you take from that film moving forward, saying we can't let this happen again?
What would you say would be the difference if we out-rebounded everybody and then go to it on a 13-0 run? If I ask you as an observer, what's the difference? Does rebounding take talent? No. Does rebounding take size? No. So what would be the difference to you as an outsider? I mean, I'm asking you a question. But as an outsider, if you had to go tell my team right now, the difference between your rebounding and your rebounding in that stretch of 13-0, what one word would you tell them?
Probably effort.
Absolutely effort. Nobody changed bodies. Nobody became a different person. They didn't put Superman in the game. The difference was effort. And when you have a slim margin like we do, effort goes a long way. You either give it or you don't. SEMO game, 5 kids played the second half. 5 kids. Everything they had, effort on every play, offense, defense, and we won the game. So, I mean, I'm not being smart by any means. I'm saying as an outsider, what would you go tell my team? What's the difference? Effort. And that's what we talk about. It's effort. We cannot afford to take plays off because we're not good enough.